All right, we're going to start with the nation. Tinubu set for victory. Picture here, obviously, of Asiwaju Tinubu in the middle of his supporters at the APC presidential primaries. Nigerian Canadian jailed 3 years for importing cocaine. Motivation one day, Canada. Oil sector challenges threaten Nigeria's growth, says World Bank. Our attack, 33 bodies for burial, says Bishop. Why Makinde dropped ex-deputy by Oyo PDP? 3,000 of 34,000 PVCs collected in Lagos. Nigeria's oil revenue dips to 945 billion. Okay, which story are we starting with?
We could start with the Owo attack. So they have said, according to the cleric, that bodies of 38 worshippers among those killed last Sunday at St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo are to be buried very soon. He said that those of them that are being prepared for burial are victims whose bodies could not be identified by their relatives. They said the church has already fixed the date for the burial, so they're just trying to finalize every other thing. He said some victims were not able to be recognized at all. I think those ones were standing just before the altar that was detonated, so nobody could recognize them. And some family members had come earlier to pick up some of these victims to conduct private burials for them. They didn't take them to the mortuary at all. And so the total number of those who are going to be buried is just 38, but they will do a head count of those relatives who have taken their loved ones to bury, so that they will have a total number of the people who died in that incident. Once everything is formalized, they will let us know the date for the mass burial.
Oh, that's such a sad story, yeah.
It's really sad. I feel like my political story is very useless in reaction to that, but it's also important to inform people of Oyo State that the deputy governor that will be contesting along with the governor would be different from the one that got sworn in the past 4 years. I was hoping to read the reason, but all I saw was that he has picked a running mate. The running mate is going to be the executive chairman of Oyo State Housing Corporation, Bayo Lawal, will be the running mate for the 2023 election. He is from Uke Ogun. And this is happening 48 hours after the current deputy governor, Rauf Olaniyan, announced his defection to APC. That's the story.
Okay. So the REC, the Resident Electoral Commission of the INEC, Olusegun Agbaje, was saying yesterday in Lagos State that out of 34,000 PVC that were registered, only 3,000 have come to pick up. Oh. According to him, those who registered between June 2021 and December 2021. But it's quite disturbing that even though they registered, they came out to register, but they are yet to come pick up. And this is a problem because, according to him, he told his electoral officers in the local government to call all the owners of the PVCs to come and pick up from the offices. We're not going to bring PVCs to your houses. So I'm saying this because this is a very passionate matter at this moment. Nigerians are talking about we want leaders, we want good leaders. If you don't collect your PVC, you cannot vote. So please go and pick it up. You've registered. Now go pick up.
So the World Bank Global Economic Prospects is saying that Nigeria has been suffering consistency in our oil production. Like, we're not able to produce to capacity. We have the projected growth that we need to bring us out of the economic crisis we're facing isn't going to change anytime soon. And they said the report titled Stagnation Risk Rises Amid Sharp Slowdown in Growth. So we can produce more, we are not producing. The Petroleum Industry Act, which is supposed to help forestall the challenges within the oil sector, isn't performing. Nigeria still records 4 in 10 Nigerians live below poverty line, with many more lives at risk of falling below. And right now, when they talk about PVC, when they talk about following the election, following the primaries, this is really important for us to do, because whatever decision we make regarding our leader will determine if we're able to recover or things continue to nosedive.
Okay, let's move on now to the Punch. Presidency drama color as APC holds primaries. Why Buhari insists on national carrier, says interim CEO. Lagos Bishop allegedly rapes female pastor twice and threatens reporter. UBEC votes 2 billion naira for teachers' people's headcount. We won't leave Southeast. Our parents lived here for over 100 years, says Seriki Hausa. Okada riders, Lagos task force clash, 180 motorcycles seized. Primary Southeast PDP delegates neglected their aspirants, says Uha Bunwa. And talks with federal government panel over strike fruitless, says Sano. Okay, which story are we taking?
The founder of a church in Lagos State, identified as Bishop Daniels, has been accused of raping an assistant female pastor at his house in Lekki. According to the story, said this particular pastor is married with children and allegedly raped this assistant pastor on 2 different occasions. So there was an event that the church was organizing, and then this assistant pastor was not able to attend. She said it was her brother's birthday, and so she missed her brother's wedding, so she missed the celebration. But then the pastor summoned her to his house for punishment, and said she arrived there on that day. The pastor asked her, there was nobody, I think the family members were not around, and so the pastor asked her to strip, and she stripped. And the pastor said, I don't want to sleep with you, I just want to test you, I just want to see your loyalty, I just want to see this and that. Oh yeah, go and dress up. And she went back and dressed up. And he called her again and said, you should strip. And she stripped, and then she left. Then another incident happened in church, and he called her back for another punishment in his house. That was when he had an opportunity and raped her. He raped her on 2 occasions. He said she was bleeding. She wasn't a virgin, but the tear made her bleed. And before she could step out of the room, the pastor had cleaned out all the blood. So this happened in 2020. She reported the case to the police, but after a few days, the man was released, saying the police said they had no... they're not supposed to hold him for that long. But then the case didn't have a lot of evidence. So now she's pushed the case back because some other members of the church are now saying that the pastor has attempted to rape them. So she now had other witnesses to join her, and the case is currently under investigation.
Oh, wow. Man, so, such a sad story. Have a story in front?
Yes, I have a story. Of course, we also on social media yesterday, the attack that happened in Idiaraba, Surulere area, between the Lagos State Environmental Sanitation Special Offense Enforcement Unit, aka the task force. So they tried to implement the Okada ban within this area, and as opposed to the Okada people just submitting their bikes for the seizure, they fought back. And the attack, the video showed that they were, according to social media, because even Punch was saying, according to what they saw on Twitter, was that they claimed there were gunshots were fired. Videos showed they were firing of tear gas. Residents from the area said that they raided the community within Mushi area as well, and that it doesn't understand why the police went to arrest Okada riders in Idiaraba, because that part of Idiaraba is under Mushi local government, and the ban does not affect there. That this was an illegal operation by the police, and that he saw the vans and knew a resistance would happen. So obviously we're waiting for more information.
Right.
What we can confirm is no life was lost, and no building was burnt down. And we're grateful to God for that fact.
All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with the reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Moving on now to Daily Sun. Akpabio Amosun Vayemi gave Tinubu boost by stepping down. Soludo mocks Catholic priest Ibube Monso. Drama in Abuja court as angry judge orders seizure of reporter's camera, deletion of video clips. Pollution, FG plans health audit of Ogboniland residents. Nigeria heading to anarchy, says Khan. And 2023, IGP sets up electoral offences desk in police commands. Which story are we taking?
So the Anambra State Governor, Chukwuma Soludo, Mariah's favorite governor, reacted to a prophecy by the spiritual director of Holy Ghost Adoration Ministry, Reverend Father Emmanuel Obima. He saw a vision, and he said that he saw Fulani. Sorry, he said he saw, according to the papers, they mentioned Fulani, but I'm not going to mention that. He said he saw terrorists attacking the governor, the governor's house, and they said he saw them. They had tribal marks. They attacked him, and he was running in a pool of his own blood. And so he, talked about this, and also said that he saw that there were a lot of people ganging up in the forest, waiting to get instruction to strike. Oh. And, the governor reacted, saying that however, that he knows because he has the monopoly of the pulpit, he should be responsible for everything that he says. He's come this far without all of these prophecies. He is a Catholic by birth, and he doesn't believe in all of these prophecies. And if you see some of these things, you should pay attention and pray for yourself and the nation. I also mentioned the fact that he believes that all these prophecies are more phantom. They are just playing to the gallery and is mostly political motivated. If not, why is it that it's only high political officials that you see in some of these prophecies, and why did God not reveal to you the identity of the unknown gunmen? Aside from the prophecy that he gave, he also, talked about the administration saying that Soludo is underperforming right now, especially in issues of insecurity and waste management, and that he needs to sit up.
It's just like, what, 2 months or 3 months?
Yeah. Yes.
So I had to take the story about journalism. Journalists, 6 judiciary correspondents yesterday were detained for over 2 hours on the orders of Justice Chizoba Orji of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory in Maitama, Abuja. Now, one of the main persons, and they were also forced to delete videos and pictures they took during the proceedings. After the proceedings, Ms. Wumi Olabori of AIT was made to delete pictures and videos from her phone. Mr. Godwin of The Sun, Ikechukwu Nchori of Vanguard, Ostinekezi of Ray Power, a veteran journalist, Mr. Charles Ozioma. Trouble started when the judge stepped down to go to our office to file the ruling, and a reporter did her own piece to come, wanted to just take cutaways and record, and she was now arrested. So she said she kept reiterating that she's a registered registered journalist, judicial correspondent, and she had a right to do this. And they do this all the time. They record visuals and videos and do their cutaway recordings before leaving the court. And they were told, the judge said that Array brought all of them to the courtroom and asked them why did they do it, that they cannot record or take pictures within his own courtroom without his own permission given to them to do so.
It's his courtroom anyway, so it's not a privilege. They give you the opportunity to record. So there's certain rules. I don't know what the rule, the guidance
exactly,
but it's his courtroom really. So he does have the right within his courtroom. But the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali, has directed and approved the establishment of the Electoral Offences Desk at the Force Criminal Investigations Department, FCID, in Abuja. And it's going to be headed by the commissioners of police, and they're going to create various commands across the nation. According to him, the mandates will be to collate and investigate all electoral offences from members of the public or any quarters, view with determining culpability, and in line with the amended Electoral Act, and preferring charges before courts of competent jurisdiction. So they're going to be watching very closely electoral offenders during the elections coming 2023. And this is good. This is a good development, because before, sometimes the INEC always feels like they don't have enough information or evidence to gather. But now that the police has created a whole department on this, then they'll be able to have ways to charge proper people, electoral offenders, to court with proper evidences. Okay, now let's move on quickly now to Vanguard. Tinubu Osinbajo Amechi. We'll talk about the APC convention in a moment, because that's the whole topic of the day. Yeah. And I know that TVC is also covering it live right now. They started the counting, and we're going to be going in and out to the Eagle Square to see what's going on. So we'll be covering it as we go on to the show. Let's find a story we've not taken. Bamire emerges 12th OAU of substantive VC, pledges to improve IGR. Over 20,000 Nigerians trapped in Mali, says NAPTIP. 2023, why PDP would take over more states, says IU. Okada ban, mayhem as task force operators clash in Mushin, Surulere. 1 dead, 1 hospitalized as building collapses in Quarry Market, Kano. Peter Obi is officially our presidential candidate, says LP. Okay, which story are we starting with? I was going to take... Go ahead.
Yes, so a 20-year-old construction worker, Abdul Kadir Nasiru, lost his life while his co-worker, Naziru Shafiu, sustained injuries as the 3-story building collapsed in Kanti Quarry Textile Market in Kano State yesterday. He said 2 of the 3 floors of the building have been completed, while the 3rd floor is still under construction when the collapse happened, and it happened around 12:35 p.m. According to an eyewitness, he says that a lot of buildings in the market do not conform to professional standards, that people indiscriminately add extra floors to their building without professional advice, and this is likely one of the cause of this collapse. So according to the a spokesperson of the Kano State Fire Service, Saminu Yusuf. He also mentioned that this happened as a result of the substandard building materials used to, build those markets. He said they received the district's call around 12 noon on Tuesday about the incident. The two buildings had collapsed. One person had died. The other was evacuated and taken to the hospital. Aside from that, there was no other casualty. So I think they need to look into the people who give the plan. It's town planning that give the approval and also enforce it. So when you've given an approval of 2 stories and you pass there tomorrow and see 3 stories, what do you do about it?
So NAPTIP, that's the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, was disclosed yesterday some really staggering data. According to them, over 20,000 Nigerian youths have been trapped in Mali and other countries for sexual exploitation. These exploiters charge them about 150 naira for sex. And before NAPTIP, there were no convictions, but now NAPTIP have been able to get about 516 convictions across. Says that about 13,000 of them were sponsored to the university by the agency. 18,000 victims actually of the trafficking have been rescued. And he was just giving us data on the fact that many of these youngsters move to West African countries to be trafficked. And because they are en route to Europe, many of them get as little as 150 naira, which could be collected by those who traffic them there. So they take them there and collect 150 naira in for per session. It says that, let me try, there was another data you get that was really interesting. It's just so sad that only 516 have been convicted since this didn't happen, and it's quite sad.
I want to take the story of Peter Obi. So Peter Obi has been declared the official candidate for Labour Party. This happened in Asaba after the Professor Patutomi addressed the delegates at the National Convention of the party that Peter Obi must be given the opportunity to govern this country. And so the former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, emerged the candidate for Labour Party. He was also, if you remember, the vice presidential candidate under Atiku for PDP in the last elections.
Okay, let's move on to the Nigerian Tribune. APC convention suffers hiccups, voting drags. Breakthrough for cancer treatments as U.S. drug trial records 100% success. DSS rescues abducted Kano APC senatorial candidate's mother in Jigawa. UBEC earmarks 2 billion naira for 2022 nationwide schools personnel audit. Fulani attack, I don't need your prophecy, Soludo replies Catholic priest. Makinde picks Bayo Lawal as running mate for 2023 elections. Tension as Okada riders go on rampage in Lagos. I think we're taking most of the stories in this paper. Yeah. Let's take the cancer story.
Yes, so United States drug trial involving cancer patients has reportedly recorded 100% success. So according to the cable, it said the patients had rectal cancer, a type of cancer that begins in the rectum, which is the lower end of the large intestine. Now, according to the publication, it said 12 patients were used for this trial, and they entered remission after taking dostarlimab over a 6-month period. Now, dostarlimab is an immunotherapy drug used in the treatment of endometrial cancer. They say it works by unmasking cancer cells, allowing the immune system to identify and destroy them. So afterwards, they received this dosage every 3 weeks for 6 months, and treatment was followed by standard chemo, radiotherapy, and surgery. At the end of the day, they've been, responding to treatment, and they said this is the first time it has happened in the history of cancer where they are actually seeing it working. So hopefully we'll have more of these drugs given to people who have this rectal cancer.
So I want to take the story of talks with federal government over strike fruitless. That's from Sanu. And what he mentioned was that the negotiation between the Joint Action Committee of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities and Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational Associated Institutes had recorded no tangible result. Over a 3-month period, they accused the Briggs-led negotiation team of not adhering to the timeline they were meant to. So the meetings they were meant to take place didn't take place. And over that period, they only had one meeting on the 8th of Friday, April 8th. And Today, according to reports, June 7 makes exactly 2 months the first meeting took place, and no other meeting had taken place. No tangible thing was put on the table. No offer was made by the government, particularly on improving the conditions of service and welfare of members of SANU, that the government side seem not to be sure of what is going on, and they seem to be groping in the dark. Now, we remember that our students have been on strike for a few months based on ASU strike. SANU is also complaining, and while we're discussing politics and politicking, the meetings that is meant to resolve the issues hasn't even been taking place.
But I thought there was a meeting yesterday. They were telling us, I read in the paper.
Monday was the deadline for the results, but they were saying like there was really nothing.
Deadlock.
They had gotten out of it.
Okay, I was going to take a story on the UBEC, but I don't have that story anymore. I think that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, the only news the Nigerians are talking about this morning is the APC convention. That's because we need to know who their flag bearer is, especially now that we have PDP's flag bearer, Atiku Abubakar. We're waiting to see who APC's flag bearer will be. When we come back, we delve into the convention, what you saw, what you heard, and your thoughts. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.